That's live. That's live. Hey, hey. Chat, chat. Let's get this. Start here. Whew. All right. Hey, everybody. Happy Sunday. If it's Sunday where you are, I guess it's Sunday everywhere, isn't it? But is what it is. All right. So this is going to be an interesting one. I'm playing with a few more things to try to get this right. One of the things I've been playing with is always messing with the volume. So let's get that down a little bit more. Down to 10. Trying to make sure that I might be a little bit louder for you guys now. We'll find out. Or at least I'll keep playing with the mixing here. So that's that. And I've got this kind of cool thing going on over here, too, as well. Just constantly trying to make sure that, you know, if I'm hopping off cam for a moment, boom, talking off camera. And you can see when I'm talking, we've got the mixer going there as Indiana Jones thinks about his little board. This is going to be very important for us today. If there's ever any moments where we know, like, or maybe I'm in the middle of a game where I'm, like, not doing, like, a face stream that day, but still trying to show what we're actually working on. We had a great time over the past week. I consider Monday to be the start of the week. Hot take. There's your hot take of the day there. But earlier this week, we've been gathering a lot of our sounds for our soundboard from Guild Wars 2. Getting that soundboard set up. Wednesday, we streamed Pokopia for the first time since March. That was a great stream. And I've been doing more since then. You know, I've been doing some hard work on Pokopia, just trying to make sure that when we get going next Wednesday, we can hopefully go to Area 2 Pokopia and just absolutely blast through Area 2 there. I guess I'll go back to my social here. I think it's going to be great. And then Thursdays, I'm usually doing my own thing on Thursdays. Friday is kind of catch-up day. It's a lot that's going on. But for now, the big ones that we're looking at are the Tuesday Guild Wars streams. We're getting closer and closer to those. And the Wednesday, whatever the game of the month, game of the quarter is, which is Pokopia. So again, this Wednesday, hoping for a super long stream of Pokopia, get some more of you guys in there. Today is kind of interesting. I've been getting started a little bit late because I've been fiddling things, but also because what I wanted to do today, let's hop over to here where you can sort of see in the background. Actually, I think if I go to this one, you can really clearly see, yeah, in the top right. What I wanted to do today was this set here, Lego Minecraft The Mountain Cave. I've got that sitting around here somewhere. And I was going to procrastinate by building this 3,000-piece set, because that's what you do when it comes to Lego. Sometimes you procrastinate with something that's even bigger. But then I couldn't find it in time. So I know where the backup location where it is. But funny enough, since I procrastinated, I guess we'll just have to actually do what I should be working on right now. And what I should be working on right now is really simple. Let's go to YouTube really quickly, and let's look at ourselves externally. I think I can do this. Hopefully this isn't a problem. So if I go to my channel, we're going to, and actually this is kind of important because I think I'm going to need this almost as we're going to need this as a legacy. We're going to need to take a look at sort of some of the things that we've looked at. So if we go to our playlists, and we go to the our public playlist. We go to Lego build streams. We're going to need to take a look at sort of some of the things that we've looked at. So if we go, I'm getting some mirror echo stuff happening over here. Yeah, we're not going to the current one. We actually want to go to, I mean, as nice as it is to be live, we want to go all the way to the bottom. We've actually done quite a lot of these Lego build streams. To the very second one that we ever made. Looks like I have one hidden video down there that I'll have to take a look at later, so that's good to know. But we want to go to, I guess, the second or third one we ever did, which is this giant Lego mountain, prehistoric cave, and cloud forest live build. You can see my cutie pop former cat was there. This was in the old place. This was when we were just getting started with streaming, which is fine. But what we do have here is this super cool whiteboard where we are sort of whiteboarding out this idea of a really giant Lego mountain cave. And the basis of this mountain cave was these two sets from the Lego's Monkey King line, the cloud forest that are like set in a cloud forest biome. So what we did that day, there's our whiteboard that we were looking for. So you can see up top we have this flower fruit mountain, and then we have these Mandalorians, and then we have this gold mine sort of set, all of which I think we actually did. At least I think we built the gold mine. Is it possible we didn't build the gold mine? I don't know. Let's see how far we got. Surely we built the gold mine. I mean, that would be quite the wrinkle if we didn't. So what we were kind of doing as we got later and later into this stream, here we go. This is exactly what we're looking for. You can see that we were starting to lay out all of these little components together. And Forest Mine Misadventures, where we are starting to see, okay, what might it actually look like to really lay all of this stuff out? So let's pop over to this next one here. Yeah, so it looks like this is the place where we actually sat down and built that Lego gold mine. And again, what we did, we were building a few things here. We had a warm-up build, we built the mine, and in the bottom right there at that time, you could see we were really focused on laying out what the base of this mountain is going to look like. And I can't remember what was the exact order that we did all this stuff in. And then I think at some point we moved on to something else. Yeah, lots of pieces there. We started working on Lego Stranger Things, but we want to know where we were at the point before we started working on Stranger Things, and we want to know how far did we get in terms of the mountain cave. It looks like we built a lot that day, actually. That was one of our longest streams ever. But the big question is, did we actually build? This is all the that little camper van adventure. Did we actually build that mine? Or did we not? Because if we did not, that's going to be interesting. Well, either way, the point is we have sort of a layout of what I want this this cloud forest mountain biome to look like, with sort of like there's a base level, then there's a second level, then there's a third level, a pyramid, right? So let's go back to our social cam here. So yeah, it's a pyramid, 3 levels. Basic underground cave level with like Mandalorian hideouts and stuff. And then like a second level, and then like the third level is the Flower Fruit Mountain. So really, I guess it's actually going to kind of be 2. Flower Fruit Mountain is a beautiful Lego set. It's like one of the most beautiful Lego sets that I've ever seen, actually. And I have it right around the corner here. So we're actually going to pull out that box in a little bit, and we'll take a look at just how far we got. I genuinely cannot remember if we built this set, but I think we did build this set eventually. This mine that I was talking about here. So here's the order of operations. We're actually going to build 3 more Lego sets that are all going on that base layer of the mountain build. And then we're going to fill out that base layer. I think I have enough space in front of me to lay out the whole layer and start building it upward. And once we have all these pieces, we're going to start making a stable base that we can ultimately put Flower Fruit Mountain on top of without it falling off. And once we've done that, that's really important because then we're going to need to fill in the gaps, right? Like if you're making a wall with your hands here, you have wall, 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 wall. those gaps in between those walls we need to fill out. We need to make a parts order, which is something I usually do on Monday. Lego's been sending those parts really fast, by the way. We need to make that parts order to fill that stuff in. So 3 more sets to build, and then we lay out the base, then we put everything on the base, and finally we're going to leave it with showing just what gaps we have left so that I can very easily come over here on Monday, order the pieces that are left, and finish out this build maybe a month from now when those pieces show up. So without further ado, let's go ahead and we want to go to the POV or we want to go to working here. Doesn't really matter. But let's go ahead and pull out one of these sets. So we're actually going to go from smallest to biggest order here. So our warm-up set is this Ambush on Mandalore Battle Pack. Now this is a super tiny Lego set, but it doesn't matter. I'm still going to pull up my instructions here because I want to be able to be as fast as I can. I don't know why. I guess I had a lot of stuff to kind of talk through and work out today. And then I added these new features on the stream too, so that's kind of neat, you know. But this is a teeny tiny little set, but part of our mountain cave is we have sort of like a Mandalorian hideout. So there we go. I could click through that really quickly. So we're gonna include this Ambush on Mandalore Battle Pack. This is now garbage. This is just a teeny tiny. I only keep the boxes and instructions for sets where like it has more parts than that, basically. So this set is so small at 100 pieces that it's only 1 bag worth of parts. I'm going to get rid of those instructions too because we won't need those. And again, normally we expect at 100 parts, this is probably only going to take us about probably like 8 minutes here. So we'll see what the timer looks like. It's going to take us almost as long to dump out all these parts and load up the instructions and things as it ultimately will to actually put the set together. And that is because generally 1 Lego bag is about 120 parts worth, and we tend to build at about a rate of 8 minutes or 10 minutes per bag, or 120 parts per 10 minutes. So let's go ahead and put together these Mandalorian guys we've got here. We'll use the front camera here just because these guys are pretty cool. And again, these instructions are going to be very small steps. I feel like my window is a little bit off here, or it's not centered. Maybe we can recenter that without causing too much trouble. Nope, that's not the one I want to do. Let's see if I can fix that real quick. I want to click this one. Yeah, I wonder what happened here. I must have messed with this on another screen. So I guess that's fine, but can I start moving it over without causing... Yeah, there we go. We want you guys to be able to see the instructions we're working on as much as possible. This is actually fine. There, and we actually managed to get it pretty much centered in the available space, which will have lots of positive effects for us. Another reminder that I still really need a camera like right here for this front cam, so I'll try to remember to do that after the stream this time. It's a little more interesting. Constantly working on, you know, putting together the streaming setup in a way that makes sense. Constantly working to make that better. Get one of these. Get the jetpack. There's our first Mandalorian. Then we have this evil Mandalorian guy, or what are these? What were these things? I think they were Imperial Super Commandos, if I remember correctly. This is from the Mandalorian Season 3. So anyway, that was a long start, but this is kind of what happens when you're really doing a truly custom Lego build. It can take you a while to really get going. I guess there were 2 of each of those guys, so we can do all that stuff 2 times. A perfect battle pack. No specialized minifigures, just straight up 2 Night Owl Mandalorians, 2 Night Owl Mandalorians, and 2... are they still called Imperial Super Commandos? Maybe they're called Dark Troopers? Dark Trooper Mandalorians? Mandalorian Super Commandos? I don't know. You can see what the Bricklink has to say about the set later. But yeah, 2 of each. Very, very simple. Obviously going to be some weapons for each faction, because always got to have the weapons. Camera's looking really good once it gets about back there. It's just this front little spot where we need a little light. Need a little flashlight. So everybody's got weapons. A couple of Imperial guys, a couple of Mandalorian guys. And then we get into the build. I have watched all of the Mandalorian. I thought it was great. And then I also went and saw. It took me a couple of extra weeks, but I also went in and saw the movie. The movie that was in theaters. And I thought they did a really good job with the movie of rewarding you for having invested in watching the TV series, but not making it like impossible to understand if you didn't. So I thought that was pretty cool. Making some boxes here. Again, this first part, let's see if I can get all these pieces over here. Or over here. There we go. That way I can be a little bit farther away from the camera there. Perfect. We have some thermal detonators, which is always a fun little extra Lego piece. Did you guys get all the way through The Mandalorian? So my hot take is that I did not enjoy... I'm like the perfect Disney customer right now, which is because I did not enjoy the first season of The Mandalorian because it was so disconnected. Well, I don't know. I just thought it was fine. I thought it was very, like... I think I just wasn't quite the target audience of it until you start to get to the broader story. I like broader stories. I like being rewarded for being invested in the lore. And then I thought Season 2 was cool because it was much more connected to the lore. And I thought Season 3 was even cooler because it was connected to the broader story of the galaxy and stuff like that. Which are, conversely, a lot of other people didn't like Season 3 because it was like all about Bo-Katan. And I was like, I don't care about how much Pedro Pascal is there. I care about how much the plot is advancing. We retook Mandalore. That's pretty cool. So the plot was definitely advancing there. So I liked that Season 3. I liked Season 2 as well. But that's a bit of a hot take. You think you only saw Season 1? Yeah, see, Season 1 was totally different because Season 1 was all like... lone gunslinger guy. And I don't know, at first I was saying that I didn't like it as much because it was unconnected, but I don't know, I watched Skeleton Crew, and that was unconnected for most of its run, but I thought that was just super cool. I found it really, really engaging. Maybe it's just that Mandalorian took a little bit of time to find its sea legs, but yeah, if you find Star Wars entertaining, definitely recommend going back and checking out Season 2 and Season 3 of The Mandalorian, especially because you get Katie Sackhoff as basically the alternate lead alongside Pedro Pascal, and she's excellent. She's like a true science fiction all-star. Just absolutely great. So what we're looking at right now, this is very typical of little Star Wars $10 to $20 battle packs. They're going to give you a tiny bit of scenery so that, you know, like if you're buying this for your kid, they have somewhere to actually play with the figures you're giving them. If you're an adult collector and you're buying this battle pack just for those 4 minifigures back there, like, you're going to find this scenery, like, there are some people who go crazy with this kind of stuff, and they'll like buy like, you know, 20 copies of battle packs like this. That's not me. I tend to buy 1 or sometimes 2 copies of sets like this at the most. 2 usually only if it's like a ship that I want to have more than 1 of. But people who are building this, like, you know, 20 times, at some point they'll just stop building this scenery, or they'll just like open and build those 4 minifigures and then on to the next one. But I find it useful to have. Like I said, in this case, we're actually not building this for the Mandalorian minifigures. We're actually, I mean, as cool as they are, and as much as I like having, you know, some of the different minifigures that LEGO produces over time, we're actually building this for the scenery. We're going to take these bits of scenery, and they're actually going to be great because they're going to be an integral part of building up that foundation for the mountain that I was kind of saying is our big goal today. It's a little hard to return to a project that you last worked on, you know, 14 months ago, 15, 16 months ago. But we're going to give it our best shot. And the bright side is, even if we have to re-change some of our ideas of how we're doing things, all the parts are right around the corner from me. So we'll see how far we're able to get in another 2.5 hours here. That's a pretty good amount of time. But as long as we get our final 3 foundational sets built, then we can at least lay it out. And laying it out is most of what we have to do today. So really, this is just kind of a build stream for 3 strange, unconnected sets. One of them happens to be a Lego Star Wars thing, and that's that. Now, I'm seeing a lot of connection points as we're building this tiny little battle pack set here. And I have a suspicion that might be because one of the other Mandalorian sets, it's a little bit bigger, that we already built a long time ago, so it's around the corner somewhere, might actually have been designed to connect to this. So if you did buy both of them, you had a little bit more terrain to, stage your battle on. And I like that Lego will do things like that from time to time. So keep building this up here, and then I know we have one more going off to the side. And then it looks like we're going to have some kind of action feature here, maybe where you can use somebody's jetpack and send them flying, which, that's kind of neat. Yeah. So here's our action feature. I can make somebody fly by holding on to this. And I think that's pretty close to it. Okay, now we're going to make, let's see, we've got a handle for our action feature. We've got a spare gun in the back here because, Mandalorians love their weapons, always hiding weapons around everywhere. And then I think we're good. I mean, the final piece of the instructions shows us sort of a pitched battle, shows us one of these super commandos just, absolutely having a time of it. Flying. There we go. So there's our flying effect. Put our extra pieces around the base in various places. Here's our supply crate. And that's that. So I'm going to set this off to the side. Again, that was just 100 pieces or so. Very, very small. Set this off to the side. Put it in the back, I guess. Clean up my extra pieces, because we're already done there. And we'll move to the second of our 3 foundational sets here. Ta-da! And here in the instructions, actually, I can see already that set 75-386, which is Paz Vizsla's Sacrifice, or something like that. And that's the set that I think was probably designed to connect to this. Let's see. Okay, so moving right along with our foundation, we'll reset our timer here. Go to there, and then we'll go straight back to this one, and you can see where we're at. This second set is from Ahsoka, the Star Wars TV show Ahsoka. And once again, a lot of folks are buying this set because it's got 5 compelling minifigures, Ahsoka, Ezra Bridger, Morgan Elsbeth, Grand Admiral Thrawn, and a Night Trooper. We want those minifigures, but we're actually also pleased that we get to utilize the scenery of this set to continue building up the foundation of this giant cave, this giant mountain cave that we're making. So this is 382 pieces. We expect that to take us a hair over half an hour. Given the particular way this set is going, it might be less, although I'm also seeing a lot of stickers on this set. And stickers are always going to slow us down. So I think this retailed for about $45, maybe as much as $50. But this was definitely something we were eventually able to get on sale. 20% on Amazon, which is always nice. Again, this is an example of a set that, in my world, has been just sitting around unopened, set aside, ready for this project for over a year now. I'm very excited to get back to this basically longest unfinished project here. So, pop that open. This time we've got 3 bags, which makes sense with the number of parts that we have. And here's our giant sticker sheet. We got a lot of stickers. So we'll pop open these instructions. We'll go backwards here. We'll find Lego 75 385 Ahsoka Tano's Duel on Peridea. Peridea? I don't remember. Retailed for $55. Definitely was happy to get that one on a 20% discount when the time came. So we'll go to page fit here. Boom, 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 and we're in it. The only thing that's going to really kind of trip us up here is the large amount of stickers, as we said. So, oh well. So now that we're working with a slightly larger base, we'll get our parts sorted out a little bit better. We get a brick separator on this one. It's big enough. And our first minifigure that we're going to make is a new Ahsoka Tano minifigure. I'll actually have to... So for each of these minifigures, since they're not unique, since they are unique, they're not Army Builder minifigures. So very squishy. Very fun. Let's go to point of view so we can see Ahsoka a little bit better. For each of these minifigures, I'll be checking as to whether I've got them already. I don't really need a second copy of each of them. So some of them, you know, folks are happy to pick up and in resale. So, and that definitely helps fund the hobby. We'll put Ahsoka back here with these Mandalorians. Obviously, these two shows were pretty much happening in the same time frame there, but Ahsoka was busy doing different things. Didn't quite have the opportunity to link up with the Mando yet. But as we keep going forward in the Star Wars universe, it's likely we're going to have all these characters interacting. But there's our magic of Lego, right? We don't need to wait to play out our stories. Again, this is not really a Star Wars stream. It's just disguised as a Star Wars stream because these first two sets that we're putting together fall in that direction, which is kind of nice. And then right off the bat, we're going ahead and we're making some scenery here. So what I think is going to be happening is I think that this set includes a dueling mechanism. And LEGO's been making dueling mechanisms since at least 2002. The first one I can really think of was from a Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets LEGO set that I think was aptly called something like the Wizard Duel or the Dueling Chamber or Dueling Class or something like that with Gilderoy Lockhart, which I've got incorporated into my giant LEGO Hogwarts Castle. OG Hogwarts Castle from the early days, somewhere or other. But this set's another one. We've had many dueling mechanisms since then in Star Wars and Harry Potter and so on. And this is going to be another one in that long line. Again, when we see all these internal color pieces, blue, yellow, very basic parts, we know that we're making something that's going to be covered up, which is another hint that we're building something of a mechanism here. Although how much mechanism we'll be able to make in just a 300-piece set or 400-piece set is definitely a bit of an interesting question. So we'll see what they do here. I actually have no sense. I don't know if I've ever listened to or read a review of this set from early 2025 or late 2024. So I don't really have a sense of what scale it is. I don't really know how big it is. But basically, the bigger it is, the more space at the foundation of our mountain we will be able to cover up. So that's very exciting. Yeah, I kept trying to see if I could find some time to knock out these builds in between Sundays so that I could keep using my Sundays for some of the larger, especially Bricklink Designer Program sets that I have yet to do, but just didn't quite end up working out like that. Okay, here we've got some, I forget what they call these, sponge gears or something like that. Something gears, slime gears, splat gears. They call them splat gears because they look like a slime splat. And we'll let the camera focus here. This is a classic component of like a dueling or ice skating or cars rotating, bumper cars mechanism for LEGO. Very easy to apply, and you move one and you move the others in the chain. I'm not very good with like gear ratios and things like that, but you know, there are some people who make their whole brand out of knowing how things like these splat gears interact. And you can go onto like YouTube or, you know, even like Facebook and things like that and find some really, really cool things, cool and interesting things that folks have done with components like this. For us, though, I'm guessing what we're actually doing is we are carrying mechanical power from the center of our dueling stage to the outskirts, where there's probably going to be some kind of handles that will let the builder interact with the characters who are currently dueling. So we'll connect that up. Yep, and we can see that's exactly what it is. Assuming that this is our central platform, we have a future splat gear right here. This is probably a side. You're probably going to be able to put your finger right in here as this platform is constructed to play with, mess with the one character that's in that space. So we'll see how this continues to come together. So now we need to close this off. And this is actually pretty cool. I mean, it's a simple concept for a set, but it's playable. It's got some nice exclusive minifigures, and in our case, we are getting a lot of value out of these, couple of pieces, especially once you apply a nice Amazon discount, as we said. Now, here comes the problem, though. It's we need to start applying these stickers here. And that is going to take some time. There's quite a lot of them. I would estimate there's almost 30 stickers in this set, or 20 stickers in this set, which they're all large stickers. They're not super small. So on the one hand, that makes them easier to apply, but on the other hand, it makes any mistakes that you do make in applying those stickers are going to be very, very visible. So just come up here and get these right. Our third set, I'm not sure if it's going to have any stickers or not, but we'll see. Anyway, we got through those fairly easily, and we'll keep going here. Covering up a lot of those splat gears right off the bat. And now it looks like we're going to come in and we're going to make the other dueling platform. And now we're starting to get a sense of about how big this is. It looks like it's going to be about a foot wide and maybe a little over half a foot deep, which is great. That's definitely give us some wiggle room to work with once we lay back out our Cloud Forest Mountain and start seeing how everything comes together. Hopefully everybody's having a good, relaxing Sunday, not working too hard. I know here in the United States we're getting ready for what is going to be a longer holiday weekend. And I actually don't know that I'm going to do a whole lot of extra streaming over that holiday weekend, although I am going to be doing a lot of work. But what I am going to do is probably, I have a small backlog of easy-to-build Lego sets, like the ones that we're doing right here, but even easier because they're all small sets, 400 pieces or so that once built don't require any extra parts ordering or finagling or so on. And I'm looking forward to taking at least the 3rd of July, which is a Friday that I'll have off of work entirely, and using that day to just enjoy catching up on that backlog. I think that'll be a good time. And it'll make me feel like I'm using my space effectively. Here's some more splat gears we're going to throw on. But that's going to come at the cost of doing any more dedicated streams per se. Okay, so I'm noticing something important here. I'm noticing that these splat gears have arrows telling you, they basically have a forward arrow that you can use to make sure that you're actually applying them at the right angles. And we didn't really pay any attention to that when we put down the first 3. So I'm going to back up and make sure we got that vaguely correct. So this should be far enough. Let's open this up. Remove these 3 pieces. And just make certain that we're not, since we're working with technical parts here, we don't want to run into trouble later. So this looks like it's just shy of the meridian. This is pointing forward. That's easy enough. And this one is pointing slightly inside, like so. And then we'll cover that back up, which I think was like this. and catch back up to where we were. And this should make it so that when all of our splat gears are touching, when we put down this, I presume there'll be a 7th splat gear to put down, and then we'll make sure that we're not messing it up. Very technical for such a small little build, but I think it's nice. Again, it's going to make for a great play feature. And speaking of play features, if anybody's watching this and you haven't been checking out my Instagram, which would be kuat.brick.yards, and of course that is linked from sort of the main page of this Twitter, also the main page on my YouTube. That's been really popular lately. Everybody's been having a great time checking that out, looking at my 3 posts related to Minas Tirith, which we finished over the last, gosh, it took us 3 almost 5-hour streams to get through that thing. It was quite a beast, but we got there. All right, so let's connect up this and start making a mechanism. Here we go. Time to get our hands dirty. Another 2 stickers here, which is fine. Flower Fruit Mountain, the set that's the centerpiece of this giant mountain build that we are making, also included a large number of stickers. But Flower Fruit Mountain is widely considered one of the most beautiful and aesthetically pleasing Lego sets ever made, with all of its transparent watercolors, a bunch of different greens. It's just a very, very beautiful build, which is even more impressive given that it is a non-licensed theme. It's something that Lego made up all on their own rather than taking from any IP. Which, you know, like we just built, we're building 2 Star Wars sets in a row, so it's not like we have anything against IPs, but when Lego can really pull that off, really? You're going to have me apply a sticker to a curved piece here? That's a nuisance. It's a very impressive thing. It's a very impressive thing that they can do that. But Flower Fruit Mountain had a lot of stickers. And I actually took a look at that set and I said, this is already so beautiful just with the natural Lego parts that I don't even think I decided we didn't even need to apply those stickers. It was really something. It was really something. Oh, these are challenging stickers to apply. Circles are always difficult. Looks like we've got 2 here, and then we'll have 2 more a little bit down the way. Let's get the other one. Gotta line that up. Fun fact for any of our sharpshooters out there, the muscles you use to apply a Lego sticker accurately are the same as the ones you would use to aim at a target without flinching. We move on to our second bag for this second set. Put that away. There's some smaller pieces over here. And this time we've got 2 Lego minifigures we're going to build. So one of them is going to be our favorite spicy boy, Grand Admiral Thrawn, with his perfectly coiffured hair and a blaster. So we'll put him back here with the rest of the folks. And the other is going to be the Jedi, Ezra Bridger. Very fun fact. No, I mean, anybody who's listening to this, presumably in another hour or so here when we finish the 3rd baseline set that we're working on, we'll pull out Flower Fruit Mountain and we'll show it. But in the meantime, you're welcome to look it up, Lego Flower Fruit Mountain online. It's just beautiful. It's just an absolutely beautiful set. And even without its stickers, I said, like, just the natural colors of the Lego pieces, the blues and greens, are just... The cheese stands alone. They were already more than beautiful enough. So... Okay, this is maybe going to be a little bit deeper than... I guess it's still at about half a foot. But it's extending farther forward than I had expected it to do. So we're going to see what that's about. And what I suspect here is that there might be multiple mechanisms. So we talked about a dueling mechanism. I'm wondering if there's also a launching mechanism to have 2 more characters fight each other. Probably Ezra versus like a Stormtrooper or Thrawn, or both. Yeah, this is a classic Lego launcher mechanism. These were originally developed for castle and Viking catapults. Launcher mechanisms like, I mean, this is a very small one actually. Launcher mechanisms like this have been around since the early 80s at least. I think that's about right. But they're pretty evergreen. They don't tend to be less useful over time. There's only so much you can innovate on a launcher. There, we got a pretty good sense of how it works. Still waiting to presumably put a few more splat gears in here, but maybe not. We'll see. Some nice calming music in the background there. This is actually the playlist that we designed for the original time when we were working on the Cloud Forest Mountain mega build. I had built the set the original Cloud Forest Mountain. What is that what it's called? I know that I just said the name of the set a moment ago, but I've already forgotten it. I built the original version of that set quite some time ago, long before I started streaming, actually, and it was just sitting around being beautiful. But the original set that we had to add to it was a set called the Monkey Kids Team Hideout, which was basically just an additional extension for, Flower Fruit Mountain, right? So the first is Flower Fruit Mountain, and the second was Monkey Kids Team Hideout, which was basically the second set release to kind of continue the scenery of that mountain. And when we built that second one, that was when we went back and did the stream of that build, which was a very, very beautiful build. Took, I think, 3 hours or so, maybe 4. It was reasonably big set. And then we had subsequent streams where we started saying, all right, so we know what the top of the mountain looks like and the middle of the mountain, but we had to build the base. And as you can see by me saying, for anybody new who's joining, we're just building a couple of random sets here that we're including as the base of this giant mountain mega build. We've already done quite a few of them. In fact, most of the bigger ones we had already done in previous streams or on previous days. So now we're building the last 4 sets that we plan to use as the base. And then we're going to lay out the base and just see basically where everything is going to go. And there's a lot of really fun Easter eggs that we're going to get to once we start laying out that base again, which I'm not going to spoil quite yet, but I think it's a pretty fun, a pretty cute little mega build. We did some pretty cute things with it. Do the same thing here to connect this up. Click. Almost looks like we're building a spaceship of some kind here, but I know that all we're doing is just setting a foundation of sorts for this battleground. This is a battleground set. Okay, we'll put these down here. And we're going to be, it's kind of unfortunate since we're spending all this time building that, but we're basically going to be tearing these 3 sets apart again when it comes time to implement them as the foundation. So here's the rest of the remaining 2 of these tricky circular stickers. To our firearms training there. And actually, we did a pretty bangin' job. It's a pretty contiguous... Honestly, that was pretty well done. It's the little things. Okay, so now we get to do 4 more applications of those long, thin stickers. These are number 7s. Yep. Actually, it looks like it's all the rest of them, so that's fine. Oh, boy. It's funny, it's actually very tiring to apply Lego stickers if you're doing it. If you're trying to do it neatly, at least. Very taxing. Any guesses on where these 2 are going to go? I actually don't have a guess quite yet. Maybe there. That's actually almost certainly where they're going. Yep. Two more. The set is basically all stickers. And it's really, really a pity that these stickers that I'm looking at right here, that these weren't made as a printed piece, because they would have been perfect for use in Lego Roads. We have a printed piece that's basically the same thing as this, but white. But it would be really, really helpful to have these in yellow. I'm not going to sit there and apply stickers forever, but instead I'm just using... Oh, we're already onto the 3rd bag here, so we're approaching the end of this set. Plus or minus 8 more stickers, but... So first things first... We'll go ahead and make our last 2 minifigures. So we have Morgan Elsbeth, and this one is definitely a repeat minifigure from another set that was released at the same time. Although she's got a rather interesting lightsaber in this one, which I'm not sure I recall from the first instance. It uses a dark saber blade, but in green. Maybe I built that and I forgot about it. Maybe not. And then the other minifigure here is a Night Trooper, which originally this was one of the only ways you could get these zombified Stormtrooper guys. Let's let that camera focus there on him. Yep. But since then, LEGO has released a Night Trooper Battle Pack, which we actually have sitting around the corner somewhere ready to build. But it wasn't necessary to do. We'll do that one as part of our many loose builds that we're going to put together on July 3rd. But there wasn't really any need to get to that any faster because it does not include any... maybe it includes a ship. It does not include any scenery that we're going to use as the base of this giant mountain build. That was the point here. Yep. And this is this tessellates pretty nicely. It's not perfect, but they did a pretty reasonably good job. Again, we're probably going to be tearing it all apart not too long from now, but here's our central ring. So it's not a splat gear in this case. It's just a rotating platform. We'll switch up our views in a second here so we can really see how the action works. Then here's 2 more of these. So all that work to make the splat gears connect was not necessary because there's no interlinking mechanism. There's not another splat gear coming in. It looks like it just kind of stands alone. Flip this around. Again, this definitely kind of looks like a little flat starship or something. That's the back, so it's nice and clean. Now, this is where the fun begins. So I'm going to skip ahead in the steps here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay out all 8 of these black 4x4 tiles, and I'm just going to go ahead and put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm just going to put all of these on right now, because otherwise I'm going to be doing it every few moments, and it's going to be mildly infuriating. So let's just knock all these out, and then we'll finish up the build. If you're paying close attention, these stickers that we're applying right now, these are the Peridia designs. That are the star map for how to get to the other galaxy. And they were famously shown not just in the content of the show, but as the subject of the award-winning closing credits for each episode of the Ahsoka TV series, which is a very, very interesting sequence that I would argue rivals the infamous Game of Thrones opening credit sequence. It's definitely leaning on some of the same ideas, but in this case it is digitally created instead of mechanically created. Oh, I wasn't perfect on this one, but I think it'll be okay. I'm actually super annoyed about those other stickers that we were doing, the road stickers, because genuinely they would have been very, very useful printed pieces. I would have been buying those just by the dozens or even hundreds for the roads in the city. So that was a wasted opportunity by LEGO, if you ask me. Differently than how it's done in the United States? That's kind of my guess. I actually have I have at least 3 more of the LEGO road plates set laying around to be constructed that are probably going to be the very next thing that we do after we finish up all these loose sets and this build, the backlog in other words, before we move on to more complicated things. There we go. So that's all 8 of those stickers applied. I'd say I did excellent on 6 of them and great or good on the remaining 2. So let's finish this up. They look pretty nice. If you look at my top right there, you can really see all these designs. In fact, let's flip over the cameras so you can really see. There, it's a pretty nice collection of pieces. And I understand why they didn't want those to be tiles, but okay, so we've got one of these right here. And then we need one of these. Is it? Nope. One of these. Yep. Beautiful. Tessellates fairly nicely. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty nice. It's pretty nice. And I think I'm doing that twice, so let's do it again. We need one of these. And then we need... There it is, this one. Very nice. This set is pretty well done. I like how they went about designing this set. The source material, it's basically sort of like a Stonehenge type of thing. These face inward, like so. We'll pull that back over in a moment. Got this one. And we've got this one. Once again, tessellating pretty nicely. Actually, very nicely in this case. We did a very good job applying these stickers. Which is good, because that's exactly the kind of task that gets more and more difficult the later into a build you start it. But we did pretty well. This one goes here, apparently. And then we just got one more. This one is like so. And like so. Tessellates pretty nicely. And we know what comes next. It's these guys again. Bring this back. So now you can kind of see the full effect there. Let that lean in. And then we have a few more pieces to do here. Doing this little mini build 4 times. This whole time I've been sitting here trying to remember if the mine set that I mentioned, if I ever actually did go back and finish it. And I'm super suspicious the answer is no, in which case that will be the 4th thing that we do here. But that's okay. It's still pretty much the perfect use of time, because even once we finish that, laying this out is really not going to take all that long to lay it out and for me to then be ready to come back in on Monday and determine what it is I need to order. Ah, these are going on the back like so. That's fine, I guess. Okay, pretty cool set. Well, we're missing just one piece here, which is we got to check out the dueling mechanism here. So I think the idea is, let's get all of our characters from this. We've got 5 characters. So you can have, let's say, Thrawn here and Ahsoka. Then you can put Ezra ready to jump into battle. So we can, that's not very effective there, is it? Let's get him balanced properly. So we can use our splat gears. I mean, nobody looks like they're fighting quite here yet. Of course, we can launch Ezra, which is neat. That launcher does not have a lot of launch power. But I think then our main point is, yeah, here we go. So we can put Morgan Elsbeth in, and now we can actually make it so the lightsabers touch, like so. And that's pretty effective for a play feature. And we have these couple of guys standing around. Yeah, it's not bad. This is something that's going to look pretty good as a display set, while also including a number of exclusive figures and having a pretty good play value as well. So it's really hitting quite a lot of boxes. That $55 price point was pretty tough, but again, eventually you were able to get this discounted 20%, so to like 40, which is a lot better. That's close to the magical 10 parts per piece ratio. So I think it did. I think it actually worked out pretty well there, the way that this did. Let me put this back. So one thing I'm going to have to do after this stream is I need to totally redo the streaming setup to fix the issue with monitors that we identified while we were trying to start Pokopia last Wednesday. So we'll definitely get that done. And that's that. That's 2 little builds for today. No missing pieces or trouble or anything. So now, total change of pace, and let's actually go ahead and even change the music here. Boom. The third set that we are piecing together today is we're completely departing from Lego Star Wars. We're actually heading over to Lego Super Mario for set 71-425. Diddy Kong's Minecart Ride. And once again, this is a set that we are using basically to create some of the internal structure of the foundation of our mountain. This is going to be kind of layered through, while also including a couple of neat interactive... Hey, where's the instructions for this set? There they go. A couple of neat interactive features. So let's give that a page fit. We've been going for about an hour, although I think 10 minutes of it or so were technical. Let's, I'll go ahead and take a quick break here, come right on back, and we'll get moving with this. This is 1,157 pieces, so we would typically expect that to take a little under an hour and a half, which is going to take us pretty close to the end time, but it's going to then give us all the components we need to really lay this out and be prepared to move forward. So we'll be right back. All right, so we're back. Again, for anybody who's freshly joining in, what we're doing today is we've got a giant Lego mountain that we're building. And we actually built the top of it already using some of the most beautiful Lego sets that Lego has ever put out. If you want to look them up, one of them is called Flower Fruit Mountain. Another is called Monkey Kids Team Hideout. And they just make for a really beautiful top. But we need more than the top. We need the base of the pyramid, the base of the triangle. And we've built that base out of like 10 or 12 different Lego sets that we've laid out. We're going to put them all together and smooth it over with some top pavement, some top foundation. What we were focused on today was building the last 3 or maybe 4, if I forgot one, sets that we were going to use as part of that base. Then we'll finish up today by laying out the whole thing. I'll go off, and over the course of the week, I'll actually order the remaining parts to fill in any of the holes, and then our giant mountain will be complete. So we've already done 2 of the smaller sets. Now we're heading to one of the bigger sets, and that is this here, Lego Super Mario Diddy Kong's Minecart Ride. So we're going to get moving with that, and then I'll explain what this series was and what it had to do with anything, and how I've gone about collecting or not collecting. Hey! That's not a proper instruction manual. Which one did I go to? This one? There, 366 pages. That's probably a bit more correct. Okay, great. Now, the nice part about these LEGO Super Mario builds is these bags are tiny. They're absolutely teeny tiny. So we'll set this down beside me. We'll start laying out these bags. So 1,100 pieces is a lot, but it's nothing compared to what we've been working on the last few days, last few weeks. Lego Minas Tirith at, what was that, 8,000 pieces, I think? That was really quite the odyssey. That took us a long time. And as we're building this, I'll talk, again, like I said, I'll talk a little bit about how I've gone about collecting Lego Super Mario and what I've thought of what they did with this theme, which I have some interesting things to say about, for sure. 5, 8, 11 bags. So again, it's usually about 120 parts per bag, but this theme, it's going to work a little bit differently, and we'll talk about why that is. 6, 5. Appreciate everybody hanging out today. 4, 3, 2, and 1. A measly 11 bags. It's nothing. And this big, ugly minecart piece, along with the link to instructions. Now, normally I have pretty strict rules in terms of what... Oh, this is becoming invisible in front of me. In terms of what Lego sets I keep the boxes for versus don't keep the boxes for. 1,157 pieces. This had to have cost... I think this must have cost $99 flat. US MSRP. I cannot remember if I got it discounted. I think I got it discounted probably pretty heavily because of the way that the Super Mario stuff works. As we move into bag 1 here, let me go to our little POV camera. Bag 1, we've got this little mole guy. I think these mole guys are super fun, so I actually ordered the parts a long time ago to make like 6 more of these little mole guys. I think they're super cool. Already lost my train of thought there. Now, we are working with some tiny pieces here for a moment. Okay, there we go. Oh, gosh, what was... Oh, yeah, instructions. So it was about a $99 set. At this point, I don't tend to keep the instructions or boxes for Lego sets for every one, like those 2 little sets that we opened up earlier. Having the instructions and the box does add to the resale value of a Lego set. But if the set is not very expensive to begin with, getting an extra $1 or whatever, it's not something I'm particularly interested in. Because also then you have to take into account storage. As Marie Kondo says, everything that you store, you're paying rent on. I don't want to pay rent on Lego boxes. Look at this little mole guy. So my rule of thumb is if it's an exclusive set or it's rare, suddenly the box for something like that is, is going to become valuable all on its own. So that's fine. So anything that's exclusive or rare, we're going to keep. Such as the box for Grond, the free accompaniment for buying Minas Tirith early enough. We keep the box instructions for Grond because that really adds to. It was hard to get. Not everybody has that. But otherwise, for LEGO sets that were generally available to everybody, let me turn down this volume just by a hair here, using my new volume slider. So let's open the extension, go to minus 12, 13. I guess that's fine. For everything else, the way I think about it is I kind of like the about $100 figure. It's generally once a set crosses being about $100 that I'm like, all right, maybe I'll consider keeping the box. So I have I have bigger boxes, but I don't have that many of them. But of course, as LEGO continues to get more and more expensive, although like LEGO is a little bit more inflation proof than some things because they really know that the value is about 10 parts per piece. Licensed themes like Star Wars are always going to be more than that, but they can't go too much more or people start to really raise a fit. And also Amazon just eventually discounts everything by 20% anyway. Well, almost everything, not quite everything. So yeah, it's about that $100 point where I start to go, this is where I might consider keeping the instructions. It's really about 120, I would say, where I'm 1,000-piece sets for about 120 US dollars that I go, okay, I'm definitely keeping this box. I'm definitely keeping these instructions. Now this one, and again, there's a point in me saying all of this besides just having something to talk about while I build this weird mole guy. Actually, did I miss his arms? I did miss his arms, didn't I?
No, no, no! We should go to the armory. That's where Zadarajni is likely to be.
It's actually Guild Wars 2's mole guys that say that quote there that we like so much. So, this set is different because Lego Mario is a very unique theme. Despite being a licensed theme, despite being based off an IP, Nintendo, Mario, these sets are actually generally priced pretty close to the 10 part per piece ratio. I honestly don't know exactly why that is, why they were able to get away with that. Now we've got a mining helmet for this guy. But people have really divided views on these sets because they're not minifigure scale. And something I talk a lot about on the channel is I really like when things are minifigure scale. I mean, let's look at this mole guy next to one of our Mandalorians. I mean, sure, in our sort of mythos and universe, that kind of works, but you know, Lego Mario is like this big. So comparing him to this Lego Mandalorian, that doesn't work at all. And so some people, especially older collectors, were not as interested in this Lego Mario theme for that reason. Let's give this guy his pickaxe, put him off to the side for now, and move on to the second bag. So the reason why they did that, why did they make that choice? We'll talk about that as we make this next thing here. So they made a very bold choice as they were designing the entire Lego Mario theme, which is that Lego Mario, it was not the first theme to experiment with smart features and electronic play, but it was by far the biggest experiment with that technology yet. So they really went all in. They said, we're going to try having this interactive Lego Mario, and you can actually play around with him. Like we noticed there's a QR code on the back of this mole guy. It's not quite a QR code, but it's something like a QR code. Across the Lego Mario theme, there's lots of little pieces that have those QR codes that Lego Mario can interact with. And he makes lights and sounds, and you can collect points, and you can actually play with Lego Mario in much the same way that you could play with that Mario played back in the original Super Mario video game. And so that was kind of the gimmick. And they kind of went all out in it. They were like, we're not just going to make some sets that are one scale and other sets that are another scale. No, pretty much all the Lego Mario stuff is at that theme. That's sort of somewhere in the 1.75 to 2 times minifigure size scale, which is a bit of a mixed blessing and curse for me, since my city is so at minifigure scale, with rare exceptions like when we're using forced perspective, like what happened in Minas Tirith. Generally speaking, I want minifigure scale. And generally speaking, so do many adult LEGO collectors. But LEGO Mario didn't do that. They said everything's going to be at this 1.75 or 2 times scale so that everything can work together, so that everything can go in this LEGO Mario play system. And to their credit, they're still keeping that going. The LEGO Mario sets that are coming out now 5-6 years later, I don't know quite how long LEGO Mario's been going, but I want to say 5 years is a pretty reasonable estimate. And those new sets are still in that scale. And they've actually moved on past LEGO Mario, and they're now doing LEGO Mario Karts. LEGO Mario Kart is still at that 1.7 times, 1.7, 2 times scale, something like that, which it's really unfortunate. In my perspective, it's really, really unfortunate that they couldn't get the technology shrunk down just another 2 times, even if that meant waiting a little bit longer before releasing it. Because let me tell you, I'm going to turn this music is loud. Let me get this down again. I went all the way down to like minus 24 there. Yeah, that's fine. Because let me tell you, if they had made the LEGO Mario theme at minifigure scale, oh my god, I would have been buying like every single set in that line. It would have bankrupted me, and it would have bankrupted a lot of other adult LEGO collectors too. Which you can, man, what a missed opportunity that they couldn't wait just a little bit longer. Now, no stickers in this LEGO Mario set, so kudos to them on that. But they didn't, and they keep doubling down. Now, I feel that we heard rumors that late this year or early next year, we're finally going to get a minifigure scale LEGO Mario set of some kind or another. But it's too little too late, because there's all these, like, now so the way I went about collecting this were, I figure the monsters in Mario, like, I don't mind them being at a weird kind of scale. So, like, there's a bunch of Yoshis and Toads and whatever. They're the same size as this mole guy, and I don't care. It's a monster. Monsters can be bigger than people. So I've now gone out and I've bought, like 12 different sets that have a Lego Yoshi in them, or like 10 different sets that have a Lego Toad or Shy Guy or some of these non-human characters. And I went on a knockoff site and I bought a knockoff Mario minifigure and so on. So I'm invested in the theme in a different way. So now I don't want to shift over. I don't want to shift over to minifigure scale Lego Mario. So I'm going to have some hard decisions to make based on what they do end up releasing. Now, I'll probably get something. It'd be nice to have an official Lego Mario. But the fact that they're still in there releasing, now all this Mario Kart stuff, man, I would have loved to buy a bunch of Mario Kart sets. They're really doing a phenomenal job with those Mario Kart sets, but they're not at the scale that I like. They're not at the scale that really works for me. So, actually, if I remember correctly, the Mario minifigure scale set that we're getting is classic Donkey Kong. Actually, it's Mario versus Donkey Kong, which actually might be a skippable set for me. Like, that's going to be probably more of a display set, like the original Sonic the Hedgehog Green Hill Zone was a display set, and then later on they made a bunch of minifigure scale stuff. So we're going to have to wait and see, but it does not sound like what they're planning is to start a separate minifigure scale Mario theme, which of course makes perfect sense. You don't want to divide your audience. You want to force your people like me to keep making the decision to buy non-minifigure scale Mario stuff that has the expensive electronics, or electronic reactive, I should say, stuff in it. If you split your audience, then it's basically only a matter of time until one of those themes is going to be seeing the death knell. And I think with all they've invested in Lego Electronics for Lego Mario, they don't want to do that quite yet. However, that leads us to a really, really interesting point about what they are doing. with Lego Pokemon. Lego Pokemon just released within the last month or two, and they released tons of different electronic, smart play compatible. Well, actually, hold on. Before we get to Lego Pokemon, they tried this with Star Wars. So the Star Wars electronic sets are technically minifigure scale. They're just CRAP. They're minifigure scale. You can put them beside a minifigure and it looks fine, but they're not good sets. They're like they're scrunched up, and chibi is the word that we would use for them. And apparently they're selling really, really, really terribly. And I've taken a look at the whole line of Smart Play Lego Star Wars sets. There's only one of them that I'm looking at getting, and that's Mos Eisley, because it makes the Star Wars Cantina sound, which is kind of fun. And I already have a Mos Eisley diagram, so adding another building or so diagram, display. I think there's another word I'm looking for here, but that's somewhere in between display and diagram. Adding another building to that display, diorama, to that diorama is cool. I can work with that. But all the other Smart Play Star Wars sets, I'm skipping, even though they're minifigure scale, because of the trade-off, the compromise that Lego is making in making them minifigure scale with all these electronics is that they're just crummy minifigure scale sets. So I'll be skipping most of those. And luckily with Lego Star Wars, now they have two different minifigure scale Star Wars lines. So there's the electronic Smart Play ones and the non-electronic, non-Smart Play ones, which I'm like, oh my gosh, you're splitting your audience here, but it's not going to work very well because we're all 20 years plus invested in non-electronic Lego Star Wars, as just seen by the two Lego Star Wars sets from late 2024 that we just built in the earlier parts of this stream. How long have we been going? Only about an hour and a half here. It's been pretty short so far. So we see what happens when they try to split their audience. The audience is going to pick one, and they're going to stick with it. They pick one, and they're going to stick with it. So Super Mario, in this case, I think that's going to defy expectations, because in Super Mario's case, they're releasing the minifigure scale too late, and people are bought in to the electronic scale instead. And so that leads us to what's going to happen with Lego Pokemon. Because in the case of Lego Pokemon, they're doing both. They're doing stuff that's at, 4 times scale, maybe 2 times scale. They're releasing little Pokemon that look, I think I would call them 4 times minifigure scale, because they're releasing a Pikachu that's twice the size of this mole guy. So that's about 4 times the size. A Pikachu should be, I don't know how tall Pikachu is, 2 feet maybe, certainly less than half the size of a human or a minifigure. So they started by releasing those. Objectively, they're pretty cool. They've really got a lot of Pokemon mechanics, battle mechanics. It's a cool idea. It's not for me. I looked at those and I said, even though this stuff is cool, unlike Super Mario where I said, oh, those are monsters, I can have them be twice the size of a minifigure, I'm skipping the entire Lego Pokemon electronic line. The whole thing. Every last one of them. Which is very interesting. Let's see. Hang on. We have a little bit more of this airplane. Why we're making an airplane for this, I don't know. I guess in one of the early Donkey Kong games, one of the Donkey Kong guys has an airplane. It's about the best I can do for you. I mean, we don't mind adding another airplane to the city. This airplane's actually at a kind of cool little scale. It's a chunky little biplane. That's fine. On to bag 3 already here as we plow through this set. So I'm skipping the entire Pokemon Smart Play line. Now, what we think is going to happen is that there's going to be a few Pokemon sets that are somehow at minifigure scale, but they still have the electronic technology. So, we know the first one of them seems to be Lego Rayquaza, with a minifigure of the character Zinnia. And, listen, if I ask, anybody who's hopping, if we started doing a Pokemon stream, at some point in the distant future, we'll be doing Pokemon streams on Thursdays, And like if we have like 20 different people hop into that stream and we ask them about human characters from the Pokemon world who you might know, Ash, Misty, or Giovanni, but even if you don't have a bias for characters way back, if you want to look at more modern characters, Zinnia is not the first character you're going to be thinking of. And the early release pictures of her minifigure are not good. It's a very lazy minifigure. It's not very distinct, which is really a pity because Zinnia has a very distinct character design. And then you add on top of that, you have Rayquaza, who looks amazing. The Pokemon Rayquaza looks amazing, but it's like you're going both directions. So you have the electronic features, so you can interact. So you're now having Rayquaza interact with giant-sized Pikachu and Charizard and stuff like that. And I'm like, all right, Lego, I'll tell you what it looks like. I'll tell you exactly what it looks like. It's basically like you're a Lego designer. We know that everybody likes minifigures. Minifigures are what's given Lego the longevity to outlast other non-electronic toys for 50 years? I don't know, a really long time. And now you got some guy from corporate. You got Jimbo from corporate who's like, all right, it's time for electronics. Well, sir, we try to... So Jimbo from corporate walks in. All right. All right, Kira. We got the license to Lego Mario. And I go, oh, sir, this is amazing. Lego Mario, are you kidding me? Super Smash Brothers, Nintendo. This is going to be the greatest selling thing. This might even sell better than Star Wars. That's right. Jimbo says, that's right, Kira. You're totally, it sounds like you're totally on board with the idea. Make it smart. What do you mean, sir? Electronics. Well, sir, we're a toy company. Electronics. Well, sir, you might recall we've actually tried adding electronics to Lego quite a few times, including in some of our own proprietary themes that didn't also have the extra price tag from being licensed IPs, most recently with Lego, oh my gosh, what was that theme called? Lego Beats, which was a riff off the popularity of TikTok and included some of our most amazing custom minifigures and prints ever, and was a total failure. It just did not sell. Kids don't want Lego to be TikTok. They want their TikTok to be TikTok and their Lego to be Lego. And, we've even tried that with more traditional Lego sets from our internal themes that just didn't have an IP attached. For example, sir, you might remember Lego Hidden Side, which was sort of about like a Scooby-Doo style kind of thing where, you're going around, but then if you use your cell phone, you can scroll over the Lego pieces and they reveal like hidden messages and things. Some incredible ideas that were in that theme. People loved the theme. Nobody used the app. Nobody cared about the electronic component because they want their Lego to be Lego. Well, Kira, sounds like you're questioning the company line here because don't you know it's Lego Mario? If we make Lego Mario smart like Mario the video game, it'll be totally different this time. Sir, I'm not sure it's going to be totally different that time. Just do it. And then they made Lego Mario, and it sells because people are bought into it, but it doesn't sell anything like what it would have if they'd been able to get it minifigure scale because people aren't here for the electronics. They're here for this. Grand Admiral Thrawn, Ahsoka Tano, Mandalorians, all this stuff that we've been seeing. All those guys from Minas Tirith, but they don't get it. So now Pokemon seems to be the latest theme that they're going to try this with. And this time, well, so they couldn't quite get the battle technology shrunk down enough. Or rather, they didn't quite have enough small parts to just make all those different little Pokemon that are 1 foot tall or 2 foot tall in real life, quote unquote. So they just went with both. They said, we're going to make the electronic ones oversized. We're not even going to make them the same scale as Lego Mario. They're going to be 2 times as big as Lego Mario, which is already 2 times as big as the minifigures. I don't know who made that decision. Surely you could have gotten it down another 50%. Well, but then the kids know Pikachu has to be chunky so kids can hold him in their hand. And oh my gosh. Sir, I don't think this is going to go the way that you think it's going to go, but that's fine. But now we're getting these crossovers. So we're going to get Lego Rayquaza. And you know what? I'm always saying that we'll pause in the middle of these streams and actually look up the stuff that I'm talking about. But we never had the time with Minas Tirith because it was... Let's look up Lego Rayquaza and see what comes up. First look at Lego Rayquaza 3 weeks ago. Here's our spoiler image. Can I get out of the way? Yeah, I gotta like hide my head here so you can actually see this. This looks awesome. Look in the bottom right corner here. This Rayquaza and Spear Pillar looks absolutely awesome. And actually, I kind of want to use this Spear Pillar in the base of this mountain too, but I'm going to be a little too late for that. And then we have this Zinnia minifigure that's like small and derpy, and I'm like, oh, okay, why? I don't know. Somebody in the comments says, Zinnia looks like Guy Sensei. Somebody else says, the set's not very good to the other compared to other ones I could get for the same price. Someone else says, how did they make Zinnia so ugly? Someone else says, it's wild how they were able to have such home runs with other Nintendo IP. The Mario question block, the Bowser statue, the Legend of Zelda sets, strong. I've been leaving those out. Strong agree on those. But the Pokemon ones so far have been the biggest letdown. They're not using the right scale, I think. Something just seems off about every one. Anyway, I hope that this Lego Rayquaza sells like hotcakes. Because if this sells, we might actually be able to get other stuff in a reasonable scale. And like, look at this dragon. I love this guy. This is awesome. I can't wait to buy this set. And 1,083 pieces. Hold on, you can't see because my big head's in the way. There's less pieces in this Lego Rayquaza than in this silly minecart Donkey Kong set that we're working on. It's very funny. How they make these decisions... See, like, I want to say I don't know, I don't understand it, but, like, I think the answer is very simple, and the answer is... All right, so here's our plane. We finished our biplane there. I think the answer is it comes down from corporate. You're a Lego designer, and corporate says you're going to make Super Mario with technology. And you're going to make it at a scale that a kid's hand can hold Mario and bop him around the course. Now, why they couldn't bop a minifigure around the course, I don't know. Why they couldn't bop a minifigure... Okay, a minifigure-sized Pikachu, like, yeah, you would choke on that. All right, Sigma. All right. I've just made like 18 defamatory statements in a row. So what are you going to set the record straight on? I'm so ready for this. This could be anything. Also, welcome to the stream. Ah, so you're referring to the board games from last night. Thank you. You know, I had a sneaking suspicion. You know, actually, I'm going to be honest with you. I even woke up this morning, and I was thinking about this. I was thinking about that moment where I plopped down what was it? I had like a blue 11 that I was able to win with, and I was like, I knew when the round came to me, I was like, this is a game-winning card right here. And I plopped it down, and I had the Triumph punch the air. But you know, man, I'm not going to argue with the game master in the middle of the game. That's hobbyless behavior. But appreciate the affirmation. The record has been corrected. Record has been officially corrected. You stole that from me. That's right. You do owe me one. You do owe me one. I'm popping off. You do owe me one. Expect your debt to be collected at a future time. But you know what's funny? We weren't even imbibing in too many substances. Normally, like, this would be we'd immediately attribute this to substances. We'd be like, oh, yeah, it was late in the night. Nah, you just wanted to take this from me. That's okay. That's okay. I'll remember. Can gamers be bad at math? Is that a thing that gamers can do? Gamers have to math. What if you have to calculate your points, your high score? You have to be bad at something. All right, I'll give you that. You're good at explaining and gaming. So anyway, I do appreciate the record straight set. Feels good. I've got a boost to go forward. Man, we were ranting. You interrupted an absolute rant on with this good news. So that's great. It's good to come back. It's good to come down. See how we're doing here. I got about another hour in me, it looks like. I got about another hour to go. So easily half of that we're going to be spending continuing to put this Mario set together. It's going to take some time, all these little pieces. But we're humming through it. We're about a third of the way through. So I guess this will take an hour and a half. This actually might take us most of the rest of the time, but that's actually fine. That's actually pretty much fine because it's going to take us right to where we need to go in terms of having everything ready to lay out for the mountain itself, which is going to be pretty nice, I think. So we'll have to see. We'll see in a moment here. And I think we need to reset our vibe mix up there. Yep. So we've been talking about these sort of the different scales used for these different themes. And right here what we've got is once again a different scale. We're making Funky Kong himself. And Funky Kong, of course, is going to be at that 2x scale, that Mario scale that we've been talking about. So he's going to be significantly bigger. He's going to be big enough to basically step on any of our LEGO minifigures if he so desired. I don't know if Funky Kong is into that particularly, but if he so chooses, he will so be able. But perfectly well scaled to our mole enemy or to anything else like that that we might choose to put together. So let's see. Which hand is this? Looks like this one. Again, all of these Lego Mario, every bag that we're working on here is a pretty distinct build. That's not very stable. Let's just put it like so. You know why that's not stable? Because it's backwards. I literally attached his legs backwards, which was a fairly inconsiderate thing of me to do. But I was like, why is this so... Let's get that sorted out. There we go. Now we've got the angling. It's going to let this guy stand up straight. Like so. He is a very large primate. Very large primate, indeed. A large boy. And again, we put our minifigure over there for scale. This unfortunate Mandalorian here barely comes up to his waist. Very steppable. What are you doing with your time here? You just hanging out? Sunday's very different for lots of different folks. House cleaning day, hangout day, things like that. Dual fisting streams. Why only have one bevy in hand when you could have two? It's a good time. Yeah, we're in the middle of a larger build here, but we had to zoom out basically to get all the components in order for this. We're basically taking the meat and bones and skeleton of this particular set along with of a few other sets and are going to incorporate it into a larger build here. Which we're not really going to get to that larger build itself, which is fine. We don't need to. We just need to lay it out. What value? PlayStation Network. Well, the first question is, are you going to cancel that recurring charge? Is that an annual fee? Yeah. But in the meantime, while you've got it, it's kind of like one of those, well, I forgot the subscription anyway. I encountered a game this morning that I'd never encountered before. It's called, it's a PlayStation 2 game. And it's just obscure enough that I thought, I bet Obsidian has heard this before. It's called, Naughty Mosquito or something like that. You play as, a mosquito, and you're trying to suck the blood from this family. Kind of a cult classic kind of thing. You ever heard of this? Mr. Mosquito! Yeah, Mr. Mosquito. Have you ever played Mr. Mosquito? Do you have Mr. Mosquito? I'm I want to play Mr. Mosquito now. I'm this looks like a good time. Well, you do not, but you're well versed. I feel that we need to acquire a copy of Mr. Mosquito. Hey, it's not a good game. That sounds like quitter talk. That sounds like quitter talk right there. Listen, fire up a few brewskis and then fire up Mr. Mosquito. I think you would entirely change your tune on whether it is a good game, quote unquote. My goodness, man. I mean, I enjoy many things. I'm an enjoyer of many things. It's a gimmick, right? Gimmicks exist for a reason. Gimmicks exist because they're gimmicky. I mean, look at this primate. Look at this guy towering over the minifigure here. Look at this scale comparison. We're absolutely proving the point I was making earlier. I mean, Funky Kong is a big dude to begin with. We're not trying to call anybody out for being a big dude here, but man, they really could have. I'm telling you, they would have made bananas if they had just stuck to one solid scale. But what do I know? What do I know? So I'm realizing made bananas is pretty funny in light of the whole monkeys thing. They actually invented a new banana piece for this line of sets, but I don't know if we're going to get one this time around. All right, let's do something with this minecart. Now we're getting into the meat and potatoes of where we were headed. Anyway, point is, I think we need to find a copy of Mr. Mosquito, and we're going to have a Mr. Mosquito night. It's going to happen. It's going to be great. You have to respect the old ways, the old wisdoms. Our forebearers, the enlightened folk who worked hard to create games interesting enough that future weird games could have a chance. All right, so there's our minecart. Again, it's got one of those little Mario special QR codes in the middle of it that allows it to be interactive with the rest of this theme. However, to do that, you actually need one of the main Mario characters, one of the main oversized, nightmarish Mario characters. So they've got Mario, Luigi, and Peach as interactive main characters so far. And I don't have any of those. Actually, that's not true. In theory, I've got Peach, giant-sized Princess Peach, lying around here somewhere. I guess one of these days I'll open that up. I don't know that I have a particularly large need to do too much with that. Do too much with the interactivity of the theme. Hot take: Who's grading? Who have graded video games? Who has graded video? I mean, all right. So that's your take. I'm thinking about this take. So I'm guessing a graded. So it's like in a box still. It's unopened. You open it to use it. You lose your grade. I mean, I think people who have graded almost anything, I like my things, yeah, in a plastic case, sealed. Yeah. No, I don't know. I like my things. I want to play with my things. I want to play with my Lego. I want to play with my trading cards. I want to open up and use my video games. And, like, I'm totally fine with having, like, so, like, I've got almost every, especially since I went back and have, oh, this was a ×2? How did I miss that? Especially because I've gone back and tried to fill in the gaps in my collection over time. I've actually got an awful lot of most of the Pokemon games that were ever made. And I get joy out of knowing that I have, like, a complete collection. But I like that part better. I like the having a collection of something, not the having individual things, but they're, like, sealed so that they can't be used. I want to, like, I'd rather people take that energy and collect the things they want to collect and then display them, which, I mean, yeah, I mean, here I am on a Lego stream, which adults in displaying Lego. My bias is clear. But I feel like those folks could do that with a video game, too. Like, come on. This, it doesn't have to be sealed. Actually, so I've got my, I've got all my, like, those Pokemon games. I've got them all out of their cases. So their cases I can display like a library, because that's what they are to me. It's a library of choice. And I think that you kind of do this, Sigma, as well, with your games. It's like, all right, I'm going to go to my library for my PS2, and I'm going to peruse, and it's like, what am I going to take out today? Oh, Mr. Mosquito. I'm taking out Mr. Mosquito. That's what I'm getting. But, like, and I don't think that you need to have played every game in your library or have read every book on your bookshelf, but having it is reflective of who you are, and if some of them are, like, sealed away, nah, seems like a waste. Seems like a waste to me. What is the profile of the kind of person who is like, what kinds of, like, what makes a game worth grading and sealing? Trying to get an estimate of just how much minecart track we're going to get out of this set, and I think it's going to be quite a significant amount, actually. Of course, that track is pretty much proprietary to this giant Funky Kong-sized minecart that we've got here. So it's not going to be a huge amount of use to us. These little pieces we've started seeing pop up in a variety of sets lately. They originally came from the Mario theme. They're used as basically the basic building blocks of the theme. But they've started to prove to be a pretty versatile piece, 4x4 elevated. They're collector's items and not things anymore. The original purpose has been seceded for them being worth something. Yeah, see, that's my thing, is I don't, the whole being worth something. We actually talked about this a little bit earlier in the stream with whether to even keep or sell Lego boxes or instructions. And I said I have some really specific parameters that are pretty non-generous. I actually get rid of the pretty high majority, not the overwhelming majority, but the high percentage of Lego instructions in boxes. Unless they're like rare and promotional sets or really, really expensive. Because the only thing that having those instructions actually does for the set is increase its resale value. But it increases the resale. The Lego is intrinsically valuable, just like the video game is intrinsically valuable. That's the point. That's the point. Keep it simple, stupid. The Lego is intrinsically valuable, and so it has to be a pretty valuable set for that box and instructions to add more than like $1 or $2 to the resale value of the already valuable Lego. So I feel similarly about the video game. Now, video game, that's a library, right? That's my bookshelf of video games. So I am going to keep essentially all of my video game boxes and the manuals for video games when they even happen anymore, because that's kind of a lost art there in the boxes. I am going to keep them. But they're perfectly fine. They don't need to be sealed. I want to be able to take that Mr. Mosquito out and play with it, you know? Okay, I'm not sure that I did this correctly, which is kind of interesting. That definitely goes there. I think it would be something like this. Yeah. Lots of track parts. So now we're probably going to really zoom through a lot of the rest of this build. We just passed the halfway point at 42 minutes. But we're pretty much out of the zone of doing anything particularly intricate and into making various pieces of scenery. Actually, it looks like now we're making the boy, the legend, Mr. Diddy Kong himself. Here's a single banana, but this banana piece has predated the Mario theme. The new piece is like a bushel of bananas, which I assume we'll come across in a little while here. Diddly do. Diddly doddly. Hey, Rue, good to have you in the chat too. What we're doing today is not quite as simple and organized as many of the build streams. We're building towards a larger objective, but it's good to have you still. It's always nice to just take a Sunday and hang out, build some stuff off the backlog. This is a little bit more than that, but not too much more than that. Yeah, no, the physical media piece is super real. Super, super real. I like my things. I'm a very good capitalist. I like having my things. The only thing that I was already going to buy my things. You didn't have to make me pay for them on a repeated basis, threaten to take them away from me and stuff. Like, I was already buying them. I was already having a good time. So, yeah, that Funky Kong guy, he is just absolutely gigantic back there. You know, I talked earlier about having a bunch of the like Yoshis and Toads and Shy Guys that came with this theme, and they're not so egregious. Just like that mole guy off to the side is not so egregious, but man, Funky is chunky back there. And Diddy's going to be pretty chunky too, considering he's going to be like the same size as a minifigure. And then you open up your copy of Super Smash Brothers, and it's just funny. We've come full circle with exactly what we were talking about here. I mean, the discussion about not being able to own physical media is not that different than what we're talking about here with LEGO making the choice to take the Mario theme and make it electronic and then double up the size of it so that it could properly be electronic, which foolishness, a lot of foolishness. And I can't remember. So I think that LEGO Mario's technology, if again I mentioned to play with this game, the way that this system, this LEGO system works, you actually need one of the main characters. You need Mario, Luigi, or Peach. At some point, maybe I'll dig Peach out because I have Peach unopened. This might be a little bit slightly resistant to the physical media question or to the electronic media deprecation question. So let me back up. So with previous attempts at electronic LEGO themes, LEGO Hidden Side, LEGO TikTok Beats, whatever it was called, the apps deprecate. There comes a point where the app is no longer supported, and then, like, you know, part of the value of what you were paying for is simply unusable anymore. Which is a little bit frustrating. because then all that's left is the physical component of the media. I think with this Lego Mario stuff, and they started to step away from that, where if you have Mario or Luigi or Peach, the technology is actually built into the smart brick that's included there. It's not AR like those other Lego themes where you need your phone to make it work. It's actually baked in. And then whenever they release something new, you can just flash the firmware of the Lego brick itself. Again, we don't have any smart Lego bricks in front of us. I don't have any of the new generation of them, and I have exactly one for Lego Mario, and it's buried deep somewhere and not even have been opened yet. But in theory, you can keep updating that firmware and recharging that brick or whatever. So it's a little bit more resistant to deprecation than some of the other things. It's a step in the right direction, and that step has been continued as they've moved into Lego Smart Play, the new system that's come out this calendar year. Because again, you have a smart brick, a simple 2x4 Lego brick that happens to be filled with technology, and you can just update its firmware whenever they need to. And at some point, you won't be able to update its firmware anymore, but hypothetically, all of them ship with some amount of tech in them. So you're never going to reach a point where you just... Well, you know what? I think this argument actually defeats itself, because what I was about to say was the following. I was about to say, you'll never reach a point where you can't play with the thing that you paid extra money for. But that's actually not true. If you can program it, you can hypothetically use it forever, and yeah, of course, people can mirror the technology, just like they can mirror the technology of those augmented... Yeah, you might need to homebrew it. And the piece of having to homebrew it is, of course, going to be beyond the purview of your average customer. So the piece I was kind of talking about was, hypothetically, in 2036, I might want to buy a set that's Lego Smart Brick enabled that was released in 2028, so it's then 8 years old at that point. And I might want to buy... The only Lego Smart Brick that I've got was one that came out in 2026. So if the Smart Brick technology is deprecated by that point, then unless I'm going to homebrew it, I don't have the ability to tell that Smart Brick how to read from 2026, how to read that set from 2028. So the same basic problem persists. It's a little better because at least it doesn't... The 2026 Smart Brick can still work with anything else from 2026, but it's still deprecated. It's still not perfect. And that frustrates me. Because again, when it comes to the Lego stuff, I'm like, we didn't need smart bricks to begin with. We didn't need light and sound. It's a brick. If I want TikTok, I'll go get TikTok. If I want lights and sound, I'll go get something that's made for lights and sound. I don't need all of this nonsense. So, but they keep trying. Somebody's definitely corporate, it keeps saying, all right, time for Lego and Electronics experiment number 77. Sir, this didn't go so well last time. It'll go better this time. This time, surely. Yeah, see, exactly. Yeah, Rue, I totally agree with you. And I honestly believe that the Lego designers know this. Yeah, ABS? I'm holding dinosaurs in my hand, baby. I got dinosaurs right here. Which is extra funny when you're actually building Lego dinosaurs, which we haven't built any of those in a little while, but they're out there playing with dinosaurs. So, but no, I think that the Lego designers know that, but I just think that that's capitalism, right? It's a market share. They got to try to capture the market share if they can, and the market share that's untapped is always going to be the technology market share because it's what they're not doing. And now they've had a couple of systems in a row. I'm actually not going to connect these. Let's just leave that like so. Although it really wants me to. Okay. All right. Now we're going to be making an enemy. Don't know this enemy. This is a looks like a swimming shark or dolphin kind of thing. Let's see if he's listed on the box here. Snaggles. Snaggles. That's the name of this Mario enemy. Simple answer, no, Rue. So every once in a while, so Lego releases new colors over time. Actually, we had a really cool conversation about this a couple streams ago. So short answer, no. Every now and then they try new things. They release new colors. They release new shapes. They're constantly releasing new shapes and occasionally releasing new colors. And sometimes they get it wrong. So the most infamous example of this is really, really easy to point to. In the 2013-ish time frame, they released a new color of brown, a new dark brown color, which I'm looking around and we don't have anything in that color immediately in front of us, and a new dark red color, which is actually the same as this one that's on the back of 2 of the Lego minifigures we built today. And that dark brown and that red, dark red, those 2 colors were failures. They did not have the structural integrity at all. And infamously, pieces of those 2 colors, especially larger, actually no, all sizes of pieces of those 2 colors, would become brittle. They would become just brittle after not too long. Lego they would replace the bricks. They'll still replace those bricks when they have the molds for them, even if the actual brick in question was, from 2013. And they fixed it. Oh, hey, look at this. Here's one. So this is a modern dark red piece. So, if I go online and I search a 2x3 dark red plate, there's no difference to me as a consumer between this one and the old one. They're the same color, but the physical composition of that color of that piece is completely different than it was back in the day. And they don't. I can't snap this. If I was doing that to a piece like this from 2013, it would take no effort at all to snap it. So you can break Lego bricks, but it's not easy, and they don't degrade over time. We built on stream midway through last year. We built a set from like 1989 with like, it might as well have been, that was opened. It wasn't like pack fresh or anything. It might as well have been yesterday. One of the sets in my easy backlog is a Cowboys and Indians set from, I think, 1998. It's gonna be the same thing. It's going to be basically, yeah. If you wound up with an older kit, yes. And the nice part of that is, because again, the colors, they make new colors over time, but they don't generally it's pretty rare for them to get rid of colors. And they make new shapes over time, but it's pretty rare for them to get rid of shapes. So like this right here, Funky Kong's faceplate here, this is unique to this set. So they can replace this right now, but 5 years from now, they won't be able to replace that because they simply won't have a backlog of them. But this piece, a 2x3 dark red plate is still going to be available in 2040. And if I break one from 2013 and ask in 2040, they'll mail me another one, and they show up like the next day. Or if it's rare enough, but they have it, it might take a little bit longer than that. Lego's customer service is excellent. It's very, very good. Both the ability to reach them and have problems resolved, and the fact that problems do get resolved. They take their customer service really, really seriously. So it's nice. Yeah. Let's see. We're missing something down here. I'm supposed to connect this, actually. Sigma, you were saying... Sigma, what's your short name? Is it Obsidian or is it Sigma? There's got to be an answer here. You said your nephew is starting to get into Lego. I think that's awesome. I love giving Lego... Like, dude, giving Lego as a gift to, like, 5 to 12-year-olds, 5 to 11-year-olds in particular, boys and girls. It's a very gender agnostic hobby. It's like transformational because like kids, there are so few. A lot of kids from like sort of my kind of background these days just have no access anymore to like traditional toys, like brick and mortar toys, we might call them. And those that do, their experience of brick and mortar toys is that's plastic crap, right? Like it's horrible quality plastic that's peeling and degrading, and it doesn't feel good to play with, and it probably is breaking, and it's super overpriced. No, it might have been like $100 plastic Cars playset, but its quality is no better than something you get for 50 cents at the dollar store or whatever. And then when you give them a real toy, and Lego's not the only one, wooden Thomas the Tank Engines, that's a high quality toy brand. And I'm sure that if we sat here, we could probably name a couple others, but not a million others. But the ones that are really, really good, they last. They last over time. Also, I mean, Lego's not plastic. It's ABS, acrylobutylstyrene. It is a compound that, you know, it's not worth its weight in gold, but it's certainly certainly a lot higher quality than any simple plastic, and I like that. Yeah, I love Japanese toys. It's good stuff. Well, I just think that even in places where toys aren't as huge, like you go to a lot of parts of Europe, it's less about toys in the first place. It's go outside, which I mean Japan has that too. But the point is, if they are going to have toys, it's made by a craftsman or a company that was probably owned by a craftsman not too long ago. I think there's something to that. It's kind of funny for me as a person who spends a pretty huge amount of my disposable income making content off of a toy to be like, I'm like so pro-capitalist, but also not pro-consumerist. I'm constantly making these decisions about which Lego sub-themes I'm going to get into and which ones I'm going to avoid and stuff. And I really look forward to the experience of having kids someday and being, frankly, a toy expert, being able to protect them from plastic crap, to use the quoting phrase that we're talking about here. Like, you're gonna eat garbage. You're gonna eat good garbage. you're gonna get the itch for the toy. We're going high quality. So, what time have I got? All right, doing all right here. It's an unusual way. Part of the charm of Lego is like the overwhelming majority of shapes of pieces that we're using in this set have been around since, like 2000 or 1980 in some cases. It's all just about how can you recombine them to make this little Snaggles the shark here with his off-center eyes. I think he's a shark. I'd have to go to the Mario wiki and check. You know what? Let's do it. Let's do it live. Again, I'm always saying we don't have the time to pause. We got the time to pause. Pop over here. Mario wiki Snaggles. Let's just see what comes up. Snaggles. Snaggles are aquatic enemies in the Donkey Kong Country series. They resemble chubby great white sharks. They periodically jump high above the water, making a barking noise similar to a puppy's. And here's a really cute picture of Snaggles. Get my big head out of the way. In the bottom right there. He got a big belly, and he got toofs. Honestly, like, our guy looks... Where is it? The resemblance is uncanny. His little snaggle tooths. That's right. Let's set that back to normal zoom levels. They were in Donkey Kong Country Returns... and its Nintendo 3DS and Nintendo Switch ports, and they were in Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. And this wiki even includes a picture of the Lego Super Mario set that we're building right here, which it looks like we're pretty close to done with. So, looks like maybe our next bag is going to be making some kind of jumping mechanism for Mr. Snaggles. I like Snaggles. He's kind of fun. It's just a fun little guy. The nice thing about a shark is nobody cares about the scale of the shark. I'll put him in my water. Snaggles can torment my harbor all day long. Maybe I'll take a picture of Snaggles next to the shark from Jaws in a couple of days here when that shows up at my place. Yep. Yeah, so it looks like we're building a little aquatic platform for our boy Snaggles here. Snaggles is the new mascot of this stream. Hold on. I got to give him his... There we go. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. With his derpy eyes and his jaws. It's a lot of fun doing these like low stakes builds. I mean, it's low stakes right now. This is going to get a lot more complicated when I'm using it to finish off my mountain in a little bit, but like when I come back on the 3rd and I'm going through my backlog, I wouldn't describe Lego as a particularly relaxing hobby when I'm sitting here streaming it, but just to do as a consumer, I was looking for a different word. It's fun. It's like doing puzzles. It can be very relaxing. And I get a good balance of both. That's why I don't spend, 7 days a week streaming Lego, or rather I should say why I have more days per week that I build Lego than the number of days that I spend streaming Lego. It helps keep it as a proper... It's a good balance. It keeps it as a balance. Keeps the hobby from getting too stale or becoming to feel too much like work is a better answer. Making another catapult here. Now, earlier in the stream, we were looking at a catapult in a Lego Star Wars set that we described as a pretty weak catapult. It was only 4 studs long. This one is 12 studs long. I think that's a 12er, so this is going to be a bit more of a serious contraption here. It's going to have some actual catapulting power. Do a little comparison between the two. Show the difference between using a 4-stud catapult versus 12 here. Although, how is this going to work exactly? There we go. It's a little tight. Yeah. Affix the bottom and rest this in place like that. Oh yeah. We got a little bit of catapulting power. Actually, still not that much because they didn't give it very much runway, but that's okay. I thought the dark blue color that was used to make Snaggles there was built with basically the same formula as the dark red and dark brown pieces that experienced flaws back in 2013, but it had a much lower flaw rate. And I think that they ultimately used sort of the same component, the difference in mix that allowed it to be successful unchanged. Were used to improve the dark red and dark brown. All right, what are we doing here? This is unusual. Actually, I made a mistake there. Okay, so this is like a counter. I'm going to be honest, that's actually the first time I've seen this particular set of techniques used to make a catapult. This is kind of interesting. It's very springy. It's very springy because it's sort of a double rebound. That's new. That's definitely new. No new parts there, but again, kind of proving the point. Just recombined in a way that makes something. Yeah, it's pretty. It's fine. It's not the sturdiest play feature I've ever built, but it's not the least sturdy either. It's pretty cool. I like how springy it is. The springiness is very distinct. So. Oh, wow, we're still not done with this mechanism. There's more to come here. Get some Technic pieces in. So we've got sort of like a triple counterweight here. Interesting. Are we going to launch Snaggles out of the water like his wiki description? Only one way to find out. There we go. Now they're adding a bit more stability to the build. Locking up the sides with some sideways bricks. Come back over here. Do the same thing to the front. Yep, that makes sense. This is here. That's going to be pretty stable. Snaggles fell. No. Now this, okay, so this is a new mold for me, which is always exciting to see when something new is done. So this has got a spring on the inside of it naturally. So we're probably not going to see. In fact, I'm curious if this piece has even been used in any other sets. So I'll go over to this part description, scroll down to the tan. Here's the piece in question. 2x4x5 brick with spring, number 1. So this, in this color combination, it's been used in 3 sets, but I want to know across all color combinations. So I'll go to the design number. It has only been made in tan. And I'm assuming all 3 of those sets are probably Super Mario. So that is, and this is. But this is the only one of the 3 that I've got. We got Big Spike's Cloud Top Challenge. Looks like Spike can throw a log. Actually, that looks like a fun mechanism. And Fuzzy Flippers, where you can flip fuzzies up and down. And I think the idea for many of these sets is that Lego Mario pops onto the top of this and does something. It's a cool piece. I would like to see them use this. Design was created in August 2022. Diddy Kong's minecart ride came out in August 2023, and we're building it today in June of 2026. Oops. Looks like the design didn't get used too much farther than this theme. But again, they've got the mold for this design now, so they can make it any other time they want to. And it looks like this here, it's going to be used to... Oh, yeah. It's going to be used as part of the minecart track. So this is quite a complicated bit of interlocking machinery that we're using to make Snaggles fly, I think. It's my suspicion still. All right, now finally we're getting to a little bit of minecart track. Yeah, okay, here we go. So, I'm going to rest this on top. This seems counterintuitive to me. Okay, we're going to hook Snaggles up in here. Ah, Snaggles' body weight is going to depress that lever. Okay, so we're not going to make Snaggles fly. We're going to make Snaggles attack. And he's got a nice jump. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's the good stuff. Now, that's a fun play feature. It's very, you got the springiness. Okay, we might have to, this one might get an Instagram feature, actually. That was unexpectedly delightful. Thank you, This stream brought to you by Snaggles. All right, we're going to give Snaggles a nice prominent place right there. Just so you know, whenever we need a little bit of motivation, boom. The jiggle! It's the jiggle! It's the jiggle of the springs. It's the jiggle of the springs. Just like the jiggle of the puff. That might be an extra piece now. That's good. I did not, and I'm always delighted when I'm doing a build and I can't quite tell where it's going because the part usage is so intricate or so clever. In this case, I would say both, actually, that I didn't have certainty over what was being created until it was done being created. That was a really nice example of that. So, Snaggles, I think you're the hometown hero this time round. So now we just have 3 more bags of scenery again at a rate of 1 bag is about 10 minutes. 1 bag is about 120 parts. Pretty much at the end of the build here. So we'll get through about the next 30 minutes or so, maybe a little bit less if there's no intricate mechanisms or anything like that. And then we'll have hypothetically laid out all the pieces that are all the sets, these plus like 7 or 8 more that are around the corner that are going to be used in making the foundation of this Cloud Forest Mountain build that I kept referring to. Then the last thing that I'll do is I'll hop off stream and I'll double check about that mine set that I had talked about being part of the foundation and where I needed to verify whether it had actually been built or not. And I still don't have that answer, but I know exactly where it is, so we will be able to get the answer. It does look like we're making another mechanism here, or at least using a Technic frame to make something stand up a little bit higher. So let's see. Provide a little bit of stability. Yep, right there. Oh yeah, the second you start seeing a bunch of Technic beams like this, you know a mechanism of some kind or other is coming. That's sturdy. Yep, we got another counterweight system here of some kind coming up. And again, this whole set seems to be designed around the idea of you have the minecart pass over and various different things happen. Which is a shame since we're going to bury that entire set of play features deep inside the mountain. We'll rescue poor Snaggles. He's not going to get locked away. Here. Ironically, the kind of detailing that we're doing with all these different small sloped bricks and sloped tiles is exactly what's going to be needed off stream to basically finish the foundation of the mountain. It can be very tedious, but all right. It's always good to get a refresher on how the Lego designers are using some of the same techniques. That's the second piece I've dropped this time. A little bit butterfingers because it's just warm out. Before trying to apply those techniques myself. Ha! And funny enough, I actually would have needed that, except I've got an extra in my little spare parts bin over to the side. Now, what are we doing here? Guess we'll cap that off. Yep. And another section of giant oversized railway. It's interesting because we've worked with rail segments from a couple other different Lego themes. Of course, Lego trains naturally, but also various other types of sets that use little minifigure scale, smaller minecart designs, including, of course, Minecraft, but also Lego City sets related to mining and expeditions. I think we've got yet another one in storage, ready to go in one of the next 3 streams, I think. The Wild West Mine from Bricklink Designer Program. But this is so much more oversized than anything else we've worked with. I could move all this stuff out of the way, but I'm not going to rob Snaggles of his spot of prominence when we're so close to the end of the stream for today. So, all right. Okay, and then we'll hook this up. And how are we doing so? Like this. And this is just a pretty simple segment where you can... Actually, this has got great play to it. It's actually a little bit more sturdy than the big... The big Snaggles build wasn't actually sturdy at all until we finally put Snaggles' own weight onto it to hold it down. This kind of holds itself up. Stands alone. These here. And then we'll do some more mountain detailing here. Riding in minecarts is, of course, a pretty recurring theme in Donkey Kong games. Think of the infamous repeating occasional minecart challenges that would be present in, for example, Donkey Kong 64. On to bag 10, and we're actually going to get another one of those rare spring pieces. So this set came with 2 of them, with those spring bricks. This is the second to last bag now. That was just only 7 minutes for that entire bag. So again, as we finish up many of the mechanisms of the set, it starts to get smaller and smaller. And I can see over to my side that the final bag 11 is going to be very small indeed. So get our spring out, and we're starting right with the spring this time around, because we have what looks like a floating or suspended minecart section. A lot of Titanic mechanisms. This really is the number of play features in this minecart track relative to the number of pieces in the set. The complexity of this set is far exceeding. Again, for us, this is just a parts pack with some interesting characters that we're going to use otherwise. But I have to say, I'm pretty amazed and pretty blown away by the amount of intricacy that was actually used here. It's simply not something I was expecting or looking for from an oversized, electronics-heavy Lego Mario set. But could be wrong. Wrong all the time. Balance this section of track on the, there we go, on the spring piece again, so it can depress. I'm imagining we're going to connect that up to some, oh, here it goes. Oh, it's rotating. Look at this. It's a rotating segment. And actually, I think that we're going to be able to make the entire section here collapsible. Yeah, like so. Okay. Switch this up. There we go. In this case, the Technique pieces are being used not to make a collapsible section or movable section, but rather just to make an angled section. Probably to make this... Oh, I missed. Where does it go? Probably to make this the approach heading down towards that very interesting mechanical section that we just finished building. A long track segment. Yep, long angled track segment. Many of the famous minecart races in Donkey Kong 64, at least, were inside of mountains or inside of caves. They were not zoned onto the overworld, which may have been partly due to hardware limitations, but also it's just easy to make them their own zone, not connected to anything else. So in a way, we are going to be honoring that tradition by hiding this entire segment inside our own mountain. Okay, and now let's put this in. Utilize the slant there, and that goes on really easily. Nice little firm design. Double checking that the parts aren't under strain because we want them to stand up over time, but it's actually very sturdy. Nice, easy approach. And now some more detailing for the side of the mountain, which also has a side effect, I believe, of giving this slanted section stability, probably, while minecart is going over it. Yep. Another barrel for this banana and shovel. Exactly the two things that I like putting in barrels together at the same time. So here's the entire section. Let's find that minecart back there somewhere. And just for good measure, let's even put Diddy Kong in it. There we go. So here's Diddy in a minecart. Things you can't really say anymore. Oh, they're not going to show us the action feature? Usually, okay, so I guess they'll show us when we finish. So our last bag over here, bag 11, looks like it's definitely a small one. So we'll get through that, and we'll see how it all comes together. Aha! And here is the bushel of bananas that was created for this theme that we mentioned earlier. And I figured there'd probably be one as we got to the end. But I was starting to lose hope there. I was going to say, 2 measly single bananas are not going to feed Funky Kong and Diddy Kong alike. So we'll make our final section here, and it looks like, oh, this is going to be good. Looks like this is the section where these mole minor characters, mole miners, to the instructions. Mole minor. And actually, to the wiki. Mario Wiki. Mole miners are enemies that appear in Donkey Kong Country Returns and its Nintendo 3DS and Nintendo Switch ports. They reside in mines and caves where they are most often seen riding minecarts. See if there's anything interesting here. They're basic enemies. Can be avoided by jumping over them. Boost from stomping them is useful for grabbing items. In Mine Patrol, they swing pickaxes. Our little guy has a pickaxe. They also appear during the boss level, the Mole Train. Okay, that's an incredible boss level name. Where they assist the Mole Miner Max. In a cutscene at the start, the mole miners are loading bananas into the mole train, and one is eating a sandwich that it pulls from its lunchbox. Once the Kongs arrive, Banjo Bottom sounds a whistle that orders everyone into the train, and the train takes off. The Kongs pursue it. There's 2 phases to the battle. Throwing pickaxes, coming from different heights. A bomb is sometimes mixed in with the pickaxes, because of course it is. Once the Kongs get close enough, the mole miner stops attacking. Their car links up with the train's cars. The mole miners pop out to hit the Kongs with their claws. This sounds like an awesome boss level. This sounds incredible. There's also mole miners in Mario Kart Arcade GP DX. And no mole miners appear in the Donkey Kong Bonanza, but a few of their worn hard hats lie around the mine of DK Island in DK Island and the Emerald Rush DLC, which was actually only announced September 12th of 2025, which makes sense because that DK game is pretty new. Hold on, back to the boss battle. When all mole miners in the cargo are defeated, all but one remaining cart falls away, and the mole miner's engine, the mole train's engine, returns with a new set of cars and a new mole miner to attack the Kongs with projectiles. This loop occurs 3 times before the player can battle Mole Miner Max to complete the level. I am obsessed. Look at this picture of the mole train. Let me get myself out of the... Whoop. Surely I've got one where we can actually see it. Oh, yeah. Look at the top right there. The mole train, absolutely incredible with DK and Diddy Kong. And then let's take a look at our boy, Mole Miner Max. Hold on. I'm sure we can find a better picture than... Oh, yeah. Oh, that's the good stuff. Mole Miner Max going hard. Oh, yeah. And as we can see, he's collecting bananas. Now, why these moles want bananas, I cannot answer that question. He's throwing pickaxes. He's got a train. Oh, and here he's getting absolutely done in by Donkey Kong. Wow. Now that was a worthwhile side quest. It's 5 o'clock now, so we're just going to finish up this bag, and then we're going to investigate the mechanism of all 3 of those track sections put together, and then we'll wrap up in the next couple of minutes here. So... Wow, I'm Mole Miner Max. Is this my new persona? Impossible to say. Impossible to say. But it's pretty good. Hey. All right, one last mechanism for the moles detonating. Honestly, I guess this set is paying homage to a number of things, but I feel like that mole miner train battle the mole miner train is basically one of the main things that is being referenced here. I mean, all the elements that the wiki was talking about. It's kind of a pity I didn't review this set back when it was. It's a pity I didn't review this set back when it was current. I mean, it's been a while since. I guess it retired in late 2024. But man, there's a lot for something that I expected to just be a forgettable background detail in that I was going to bury deep in the far outer corners of my city. This has really turned out to be a very entertaining build, and also just kind of the lore here. I mean, it really speaks to the power that an IP has. Okay, so we can immediately see how this is going to work. Push down on this TNT, and something's gonna pop up there. But just like with what's his name earlier, we're gonna need something to hold down the TNT on the other side. So it's anybody's guess as to what we're gonna blow up here. There's not enough pieces left to make a track segment to blow up, so we'll have to see. Maybe we're gonna, you know, I might have to steal. You know, if I want to steal people's bananas, I'm gonna steal people's bananas. Okay. This is my new persona, Mole Miner Max. I'm going. You know what? Magfest 2027. It's Mole Miner Max. All the way down. I gotta write these ideas down, otherwise sometimes you forget. Okay, what are we doing here? Absolutely obsessed. Mole Miner Max Core. Oh, yeah. Oh, we're blowing up this cave. We're getting that banana. We're getting that bushel of bananas. Here we go. Although the blow-up components don't... Okay, so we're not going to blow up the bananas. We're going to... This is basically a mining operate. Here we go. There it is. Ready for this? Well, we actually blew bananas right off, too, which is a bit of a design flaw. But, you know, in mining, there are casualties. So now we're going to stick all this dynamite around the build. This is great. This is like a perfect... I don't know what these blue crystals are. I'm thinking this is also a reference to... I'm going to put it on top of this, otherwise it's going to be absolutely blown away by the TNT action. I'm thinking these blue crystals are also a reference to an item or collectible in the Donkey Kong Country series, but again, having not played any of those, unless you count 64 as an example of one, it is not something that is familiar to me. We get another printed tile here, a bit of a hazard caution sign. All right, so now we're basically in cleanup mode at this point. We're doing the last few side builds before we can finish this thing off. I like the TNT little build. It's nice and simple. This looks like it is a waterfall. Simple design, just a little bit of side building technique. Mole Miner Max. I am not recovered from that. I am literally not recovered. Oh, that's it. That's it. So everything that's left, this is classic Lego Mario. Basically, everything that's left is for the purposes of connecting the different builds in different interesting ways. So let's lay these out. So we have these. We've got this longer one. A couple of these. A connector. Angled connectors. Now this swivel piece is kind of interesting. And then let's say this is not an extra piece, so let's put it here. then these are extra pieces. So unless they give us something here, all right, so now they're just telling us a few ways that we can, actually, some of those were not extra pieces. I spoke too soon. Okay, so here's how you connect that. This one, connect if desired. This one. Just looking for any other pieces they want us to grab. This one. Oh, what was there? Those, yep. Yep, correctly guessed where that was going to go. And that's how it all comes together. So now for the moment of truth, I want them to show us, oh, they actually didn't give us a demonstration of how all these, okay. So we're going to figure it out ourselves, and then we're going to be done here. Barrel and shovel. So it looks like we need one of these to be our end point. So we can connect that up. Let's switch views. Get that over top view. Snaggles, I need you to step aside for a moment. Okay, so that's our end point. This is right here. And I guess the idea is, so you bring the minecart down. You push down on this. Which allows it to connect up. Oh, okay, this is the start point, not the end point. This is very poorly templated. So you come onto the minecart here, bring this over, swivel this down. Now you can access the top. When you get here, you're going to come down again, and then you can continue with the track. It's not very, it's fine. It's not as cohesive as some of the other rail systems that we've seen because it's self-contained to this one set, but I think it's pretty neat. These are a lot of good bones. They're going to help us build up the mountain when I lay it out in a little bit. And overall, as I said, the experience of building this set was way more enjoyable than expected. Not quite what we thought we were doing with today, but that's that. So I'm going to switch back over to the stream so this is the former image so we kind of understand what we're doing here. And I can see, can I highlight this? I guess I need one where we can just look at the big instructions. So how quickly can I set that up? I can set that up pretty quickly. So let's take this one. Let's duplicate. This is going to be called Look at Me. And all I want to do with this is I'll delete this image. Actually, we'll basically just swap those. Bring this over here. Bring this in. There we go. I'm going fast. All right. That's basically it. Cool. So now you can actually see, there we go. So now you can see this image from the earlier stream where we were looking at. We're currently looking at, this is basically Giant Mountain Stream number 2. Today was Giant Mountain Stream number 3. So if you look at, if you look at the image that's present in the stream here, there we go. If you look at the image that's present in the stream here, in the top, you've got this diagram where basically so you have Flower Fruit Mountain up top, this sort of Mandalorian outpost in the middle or the back, and then sort of this gold mine layout at the base. So again, we've built the rest of the sets. We've basically built the rest of the sets that were part of, let's bring this to the front. We built the rest of the sets that were originally part of the base layer. All like 10 of them or so, including the ones that were built in this we're going to put it all together. And I don't even know that I'm going to necessarily do that on stream. We're going to come on in and we're going to lay them all out and I'm going to build it all up. And that's something that will eventually be posted on the Instagram once I've laid it out, identified what pieces of walls still need to be ordered those parts, and put it all together. But I think it's going to make for one heck of an imposing giant mountain view that I actually think will be is about as tall as the Minas Tirith build that we finished a little while ago. So let's get one last look at Flower Fruit Mountain if we can. I want the gate this way. So minimize this. Yeah, so here in this stream, this was the end of where we were starting to lay things out. And we want to take a look at when we just about were finished with, yeah, there it is. So let's take a look at this image. That is Flower Fruit Mountain and the Monkey King kid hideout, whatever, all put together. And it really makes for a beautiful top of the mountain. So it's not a very deep build, but it is just visually very, very inspiring. So we're going to take what's on stream here, which is the top layer, and plop it on what we were building today and in the second stream, which is the bottom layer, lay it all out, take some nice pictures, and call it a day. Yeah, it'll be a few more pieces, but not actually that many, because across all the different things that we've built, we've really got a lot of foundation. So it's time to put it all together with one fourth and final Big Mountain stream. Anyway, thanks for everybody who joined today. We're going to go, where's this one? Time to go touch some grass and have some food. And I don't think I'll be back on for the rest of today. But if you're looking out for next streams, again, Tuesday, Guild Wars 2. Wednesday, back to Pokopia, where we'll hopefully tackle the entire second area, the beach area. And I think it's going to be a pretty phenomenal time. So I'll see you guys around. Thanks for